Welcome to the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast, brought to you by PlayNFC.com.
That's right. Welcome to the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast. Greg Ambrosius here with Matty Davis of FTN Fantasy with his favorite beverage, and Tom Kessenich from the NFFC as well. Matty, how you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. It's always great to see the both of you. Thank you for inviting me on. And this has been, I think, maybe my third or fourth year getting to do this. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. We're going to have fun tonight with a live stream RotoWire Online Championship. Beat Matty Davis. He's got the 11th pick in this draft. We're going to start at the top of the hour. Tom, we have been filling these up like crazy. I was just looking. We've had like 14 RotoWire Online Championships in the last 6 days. So crazy, crazy stuff, right? 2, 3 a night. And the Midnight Owl is selling out every night.
Yeah, we're going to sell another one probably 10 o'clock Eastern. We got about 5 or 6 spots left. So again, folks, you want to dive into another one tonight, just head on over to PlayNFFC.com, sign up and get in. Yeah, like Greg said, those night owls are selling out pretty much every night. We got training camps opening up for some teams this week, everybody else next week. So everybody's got football fever and getting a lot of these online championships selling out. Going to be a lot of fun in this one tonight. Looking forward to hosting it with Matty and seeing how he does. Picking at the end of the first round here. That 1-2 turn's been a lot of fun watching teams build from the end of the first round. So this is going to be a lot of fun tonight.
I've seen a lot of A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts at the 12 spot recently, and it would be interesting. Matty, what was number 11 for your KDS? Did you want to draft at the back end?
Yeah, I did. I set it at 1, 2, 12, 11. So that was my fourth preference. And I think I was actually ninth in choice order. So either a lot of the people in the league just kind of let it spread at 1 through 12. And then I noticed Duke Viveros is number 12 next to me on the turn. So that should be fun getting to draft next to a veteran like Duke.
Oh, Duke's been in Vegas winning thousands and thousands of dollars in poker. He's retired, living the good life. Duke, congrats on the poker. But yeah, for the record, I am sleeping during those 11:55 p.m. midnight owls. Tom knows I'm an early man. Matty, you're not up that late, are you?
Oh, no, you know I'm not. That's well past my bedtime as well. I like to rise and shine like early like you do.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to everybody filling those sons of bitches up, but I can't do it, man. I can't stay up that late. So I'm glad Derek and Tom are the night owls here. But
I've legit fallen asleep on the clock doing like a best ball. Fortunately, Brandy has woken me up on my laptop at the end of those rounds. So it's not for me.
No, not for me either. But hey, we're going to have a lot of fun. And $250,000 grand prize on the line, 12 teams, 20 rounds, third round reversal. Remember that. In round 3, we go back to 12. And so here we go. It doesn't take long to get things started. Jefferson 1, Jamar Chase 2. Tom and I were in a 14-team industry league the other night, and we teamed up Chase. We got Chase at 4 and got Burrow in the 4th round of a 14-teamer. Tom, we talked about stacks last year. It was Kelsey and Mahomes, right? We know the year before was Chase and Burrow. Do you think a stack is going to be the winning way this year as well?
It's going to be awfully hard because those stacks that we saw so prominently in the past are going to be awfully hard to pull off this year, right? I mean, it's going to be awfully hard to get. I mean, it's going to be impossible to get Kelsey and Mahomes. Pretty near impossible. We've seen it a couple of times lately. I think the Burrow Chase one is going to be the one that's going to be more prevalent this year. So we'll see how many people are able to do that. So again, that's going to be fun watching these roster builds to see who's able to do that, who's able to really target that, and if it's something that people are specifically looking to do with their draft builds this year.
Yeah, definitely. Christian McCaffrey goes 3rd overall. That was my point was, I think the Chase Burrow is doable, and people are doing it. I think the Hurts A.J. Brown obviously is doable, but it's a 1-2 pick, if you will. So I'm interested in seeing some of the stacks tonight as well. All right, Tyreek Hill at 4. Tom and I, Matty, we were going to start out. We had Jefferson, Chase, McCaffrey, and then we had Kupp ranked as our top 4. That's where we were going to go in a 14-teamer. What are your thoughts on those top 4?
Yeah, I like Cooper Kupp quite a bit. I think if people are hesitant on him, then they're going to be missing the boat this year. I think that he's going to be plenty fine.
Yeah, I mean, his ankle, He had plenty of time to rest it, right? There he goes. Cup at 6, Eckler at 5. These industry drafts are different than NFFC drafts, Tom, we're talking about. I know they're doing one on right now on the channel, but 13, I think it was, the first 24 picks were running backs, and you just have to know that's what's going to be coming. So what did me and Tom do? Wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Quarterback is how we started out. So, but Tom, right? That's industry drafts are definitely different than the NFFC. There goes Kelsey at 7.
Game's changing. I mean, you guys watch so many drafts. There's early draft capital for quarterbacks. You're seeing running backs get pushed up. You're seeing more teams start wide receiver heavier than ever. It's fun.
We were watching the industry draft on Monday, and they're like, no quarterbacks went in the first 3 rounds. We said, we're holding off. And then we had a chance for Mahomes because nobody took him. But we decided to go 3 wide receivers and hope to get Burrow coming back, and it worked out. So, all right, CD Lamb at 8. Matty, you are 3 away. But, hey, how's things going at FTNFantasy.com? I mean, are you guys transitioning to football now? I know you're so knee-deep in baseball, though, right?
Yeah, so Vlad and I have not taken any load off when it comes to baseball, but then we are ramping up with football. And so I'm doing the weekly podcast with Nelson Souza, the Primetime Fantasy Football Podcast. And Nelson's obviously providing all of his good content with his rankings, his phase list, his targets per round, etc.
All right, AJ Brown, you are on the clock.
Yep, I'm good to go.
Nice.
So things have been going great, and I'm gonna be having to obviously ramp things up, and Nelson's been kind of helping me with that, and I think that's a good person to be helping me with fantasy football. So I feel like I'm in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, I give it to you guys with these content sites that do both sports, and you're doing the podcasts, and you're doing the writings, you're doing the fab write-ups as well. So kudos to you guys. All right. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes to team 12, and then Garrett Wilson at 13. Tom, I noticed Chris List took him at 14 last night. You and I have been saying Garrett Wilson's going a little high, especially with Rodgers going so low, but gee whiz, it looks like Garrett Wilson's moving on up.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of decided he's going where he's going to go, right? He's going to be an early to, maybe at late mid-second round pick right now. Everybody's super excited about Garrett Wilson. Nobody's excited about Aaron Rodgers. So whatever dichotomy there is there, it's not going to change. Everybody's going to go all in on Garrett Wilson. And Matty, I do like the Bijan Robinson pick there. Kind of, Greg and I are kind of different on Davante Adams. I'm not super worried about him, even though I've got issues with the Vegas offense. I think Greg's a little more skittish about Davante because the Raiders have a lot of issues. Kind of walk us through your thoughts about Davante right there.
Yeah, volume is king. And he's an absolute hog. So I'm not going to try and galaxy brain myself out of Davante Adams. I just think that sometimes the boring pick, and he's a little bit, not considered. Well, I guess you could consider him one of the older wide receivers now when you look at the complete pool and all the talent that's available. But yeah, I think that I'm okay with the boring pick there. So.
Mahomes at 15, Josh Allen at 16. Again, NFFC drafts, if you can get one of those top 4 quarterbacks, you feel pretty good. I was saying to Tom, we did an auction, and I wanted one of those top 6 quarterbacks, and I didn't get one. I felt naked. I mean, I liked my roster, but I felt naked without one of those top quarterbacks. And then the other night in the 14-teamer, I said to Tom, if you didn't get one of those top 6 quarterbacks, you really feel naked. I mean, I guess any of these other quarterbacks can break out, but as an owner right now, I sure wouldn't mind having one of those top 4. Now, there goes Hurts at 18. Matty, my concern with Davante Adams is he's going to look at double teams all year. Without Waller there's nobody to take the lid off the back end of the safeties, right? So I think he's going to see double team. Now, he gets open real quick off the line of scrimmage and stuff, but that's my concern with Adams is no double team all year long.
Yeah, moving him around will be important. Moving him into the slot, getting him outside, etc., finding the mismatch, getting creative, obviously getting the running game going. So hopefully Josh Jacobs doesn't hold out. I would have a little bit more of a concern with Adams if Jacobs did hold out, just because then you wouldn't even really need to be loading the box at that point, and then you could really spread things out and bracket him. But For the most part, yeah, I'm still confident in Devontae Adams.
Yeah. Okay. 3 quarterbacks in the top 18 picks. Like we said, Jalen Hurts goes at pick 18, then Nick Chubb at 19, and T. Higgins at 20. So, Tom, I know you said that Jacobs has a chance to hold out, but I saw somebody wrote that the Raiders could actually pull back the franchise tag in August. So if he doesn't accept it, he actually could be on the open market, and I don't see any team giving him 10 million, right? At this point, if he holds out, they can pull back. I don't think the Giants will pull back the franchise tag, but I could see the Raiders doing it, so I don't see Jacobs holding out.
Yeah, I mean that situation is just messy. I mean, I'm not worried about Barkley.
How does Barkley go after Dalvin Cook here? That's an interesting one.
Hold on a second.
Wow.
Might have a issue.
Oh, okay. The Dalvin Cook one may be an error. Okay, that would make sense.
Yep.
Barkley even going at 22 would be wild for me.
Hold on a second. I think Dalvin might be a mistake here. Hold on.
Are you the administrator in this too?
Yes, I am. I'm pulling all kinds of duty here, guys.
Okay,
Hold on.
then me and Matty will talk. Matty, what beer are you drinking tonight?
3 Floyd Zombie Dust.
Oh my goodness, where's that made?
Indiana, I believe. So shout out to them, Munster, Indiana.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
It caught me by surprise, and Chicago being called the Midwest, and some of the other areas, like kind of where you guys live. I don't know. The stigma is just a little off to me. Being from California, it's great. It isn't all just tumbleweeds and farms and stuff like that. So yeah, the beer game over here is really good as well. And so, did we go back? No, everything's good.
So actually, Barkley was the error pick.
Okay.
Yep.
Jalen Waddle went, and then Barkley goes at 23. Tom, 23 is pretty low for Barkley. If you're starting out Chase Barkley, to me, as long as Barkley plays week 1, I love it, right?
Yeah. Like I was saying before the help call there, I'm not worried about Barkley. I think he'll be ready for week 1. The Jacobs thing, there's just so many vibes coming out of Vegas that are just nasty about that situation. So I'm worried about him. But Barkley, I think, will be fine. Pollard, he'll be okay. I'm not worried about that. But yeah, the Jacobs thing worries me quite a bit. So I do think his ADP is going to drop. But yeah, Barkley there, 23. I think that's a really nice pick for team 2.
Yeah. All right. Team 12 starts out with 3 wide receivers. He takes Devonta Smith there at 25. So Matty, you've got plenty of choices here.
Yeah, there's 2 options that I really like, and I can say both. It's either Chris Olave or Lamar Jackson for me. So I'm just trying to look at things real quick from a roster construction standpoint to see where I want to kind of split the tree here.
Okay.
Geez. It's hard to say no to Lamar this year. I'm going to go Lamar.
All right, Lamar as the 4th QB there. It was probably because I said you felt naked if you didn't get one of those top quarterbacks.
No. So looking at the ADP I'm looking at over the last 2 weeks, so that's 25 RotoWire Online Championships. You do see Joe Burrow going ahead of Lamar Jackson on average, very close. ADP of 33 for Burrow, 37 for Jackson. But I think when you guys were talking about correlation when it comes to wide receiver or the pass catcher and the quarterback, that Burrow's ADP is simply tied into where Chase is going at the turn, and then the teams are sort of forcing that correlation, and it's pushing Burrow ahead of Lamar. But when it comes to, for me, and looking at the market, I would just say Lamar's going to outright score or outscore more than Burrow this year. So yeah, I think that Chase is kind of driving Burrow's current market being ahead of Lamar.
I want to watch to see if Burrow goes to team 2 here, because he could stack them there. I mean, there's a lot of teams that 3 teams already had quarterbacks, and some of these don't take a quarterback. So we'll watch and see if team 2 wants to match him up if he has the opportunity here. So
team 5 as well
was with Higgins, right?
Higgins,
I like Jody Ryan's start. Shout out to our friend in Massachusetts, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, and Derrick Henry. Solid.
Don't be giving Jody any compliments. This is not a complimentary league here. Come on, we got to go after each other here, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Jody's a baseball guy. He's just in here for fun anyways, right?
He wants
There you
to
go,
beat
Chris.
Matty. He wants to beat Matty Wood. I know that.
Oh, he wants to beat Matty Wood for sure. There goes Chris Olave at 29. Tom, I know you're all
Great
over
pick.
Olave. You like him an awful lot, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, just a terrific talent. The only question I got, Derek and I were talking about him on the Sirius show last night. The only question I've got with Olave is, will the Saints fully commit to him? Because they didn't do that last season when they absolutely should have. He's clearly their best wide receiver. They need to give him double-digit targets every single game, which they didn't do last season. I'm hoping they do it this year. If they do, he's absolutely going to reward his ADP because he's such a talented wide receiver.
They
I
didn't
think
throw to
that's
him
exactly
enough
what we
last
see.
year.
I think that's exactly what we see, Tom.
Yeah.
I think we see the increase. I think that there are 3 Devontae Adams this year, and potentially both of them that are not named Devontae Adams, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, could outperform Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
That is definitely in the range of outcomes.
They just didn't throw to him enough last year. I mean,
Yep.
it was crazy. Every time they did throw to him, he caught it. He's impressive for sure. I mean, really love him. All right, so Team 5 says, no, Team 2, you are not going to get that stack tonight. We're going to take Burrow. But like you said, Tom, he's stacking them with Higgins. So maybe that could be the winning combination this year. So very good. I like that start, Eckler, Higgins, and Burrow there. There goes Josh Jacobs. So 33 he goes at. So that's higher than his ADP though, isn't it?
Yep. No, that's pretty early for Jacobs, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say. So we're going to watch him. Barkley goes later, and Jacobs goes earlier. I'm just trying to find his ADP here.
31. Well, my data, I'm only looking at 2 weeks of data, but it's 31 with a min of 21 and max of 41.
Okay, so right around there then, I guess.
Yeah.
Our second tight end goes to pick 35 to Team 2. Says, I don't need Joe Burrow. I'm going for the tight end anyways here. So, all right. So here we are in 13 minutes. We're through 3 rounds already. So, again, these go pretty good. These are 20-round drafts, 12 teams, 20 rounds. Third round reversal, obviously, you're seeing happen right here. And we just want to explain, third round reversal really balances out every draft pick. And again, with our KDS, which allows you to pick your draft preference, more people now want to go to the back end. Before, if you're just doing serpentine, it's straight butter, right? It's 1 through 12. You take the highest pick. What the heck? Why wouldn't you? So this puts a little bit more strategy into high stakes. So Keenan Allen rounds out round 3 with Team 1 taking Allen, Jefferson, and Pollard. Pretty nice start there as well. Tom, anything stand out to you? We got one team with 3 wide receivers, nobody with 3 running backs this time. So a heavy mix here, and of course 5 quarterbacks going in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, I always like to see what the McCaffrey owner does. I'm always interested in that build, and I like the build for Team 3 quite a bit. He starts off with McCaffrey, and again, once you take McCaffrey, I don't think you need to be looking running back at that point because he's such an outlier at that position. So he gets himself 2 really good wide receivers. We'll see what he does here in round 4, but I like Waddle and Debo coming back, and again, I wouldn't be looking running back, so we'll see what he does here. But I think you can just keep looking at other positions. And he goes I love this. I love the Team 3 build here. McCaffrey, Waddle, Debo, and Fields. I think he's doing really, really well right now.
Yeah, I think there's 3 running backs that you could do hero RB builds. And it's McCaffrey, Eckler, and Bijan. And we'll see what Matty does here. And I'm glad we've got him on right now because I'm with you. In today's game, when you get that hero running back, a guy who can get you 20 points a game, fantasy 20 points per game, now you load up on these wide receivers that can get you 18 to 20. And then you just find that RB2 out there. And so I think those are the 3 teams. Let's watch them and see what they do. But I think all 3 of them have the chance to build their teams that way. And all 3 of them did take a quarterback as well high. So very interesting. There you go. Team 5, another wide receiver, Ridley, which we like an awful lot. So Trevor Lawrence is our 6th quarterback off the board. What are you laughing about?
I said, when you said we like him a lot about Ridley, I wanted him.
Well, I know Tom likes him an awful lot too.
Love Ridley.
Absolutely.
So if you guys love him, then I love him. Then we're all in. Then we're we. All right. Then we're we when we do that. There's DeAndre Hopkins going to Team 7 in round 4. Tom, what's your thoughts on Hopkins? I wasn't with you last night on the show going to Tennessee. Bad landing spot?
Hate it. Absolutely hate it. I mean, Ryan Tannehill's not good. The Titans aren't good. he'll get a lot of targets. That's wonderful. So he gets a lot of targets on a bad team with a bad quarterback. So if that excites you, go ahead and draft him. Doesn't excite me at all.
Yeah, he should get a lot of targets, so I agree with that. And he's good getting off the ball. But we'll see, I guess. All right, here we got our first comment of the night. Feel free to put a comment in the chat. We'll put it right on here. Chris Olave, first read targets, 7% last year. Not so good. All right. Well, when they do get the ball to him, though, it is very good. All right. Breece Hall goes to team 8, and then Travis Etienne to team 9. So, Matty, you're 2 picks away. I'm trying to see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 running backs in the first 24 picks. We've seen 6 and 7, so 8's actually a pretty good number there. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we got 15 running backs taken right now, and 6, 7. Let me see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks off the board. All right, team 10 takes Terry McLaurin, and Matty, you are on the clock if you want to walk us through what you're thinking here. Although you can't, we got team 12 behind you, so.
No, it's quite all right. It's going to go TJ Hawkinson.
Nice.
Again, volume is king. And I think that he's going to get a massive amount of targets, at least in that elite tier for the tight end.
Well, we do have a comment not on one of your picks, but on your beer. So that's good. It says Zombie Dust is awesome.
Oh, okay. There we go. At least it was a good one.
All right, let's talk through the Aaron Jones then. You decided to get an RB2 there.
Yeah, running backs to get targets. I think that you need to have a floor of a certain amount of targets to be able to hit the ceiling that you want to see from a running back, and Aaron Jones still qualifies in that tier. So for me, I think that the running, by the time it gets back to me, I could have waited. There's one little other tier that I could have waited probably for the 6th or 7th round, but I'm very comfortable taking Aaron Jones there.
I like Aaron Jones a lot. We talked about it on our show. I mean, career high in rushing yards. He had 50-plus receptions for the 2nd straight year. 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns is all he had. You know, that's not going to happen again. I don't know what happened to LaFleur. Tom, you say the same thing. I don't know what he was thinking. He's one of the best in the goal line, and they just wouldn't give it to him. And a lot of that was Rodgers checking off of plays, I'm sure of. So I like him this year. Tom, let's talk about Team 12. Duke is out there. Starts out with 4 wide receivers and a quarterback.
The 0 running back strategy, I guess, right? I mean, you know, we've talked about the 6th, 7th, 5th, 6th, 7th round area. There are running backs available, so we'll see if that's what he's doing when we get to that spot for him coming back in a couple of rounds. But, you know, those are 4 really good wide receivers without a doubt. St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae, and then Drake London, and a really good quarterback in Justin Herbert. So, you know, if that's what he's doing and targeting running backs in, say, round 6 and 7, I think there's going to be a good couple of running backs maybe he can pick from there in that range. So this could work out very well for him. So we know he's stacked really well at wide receiver with a good quarterback. So we'll see how it plays out for him at running back coming back.
Absolutely. I mean, you got 4 guys that could be 18 to 20 points per game. You got Herbert, who ended up being the 8th quarterback off the board, certainly 26 to 32 or 30 points per game. So you got yourself 5 good ones here. You and I talked about this during the FSGA draft. In the NFFC, rounds 5 through 6 are really good running backs. I mean, Aaron Jones falls there. In the 14-teamer, that didn't happen, and that's why we knew, okay, we're not looking at 5th and 6th round running backs in this draft because they're all gone in the 3rd round. But this could play out, so let's keep an eye on this. Kyle Pitts, George Kittle going in this round, Dobbins and Aaron Jones going in this round. So again, interesting builds for a couple of teams here. Team 5 is, again, going with the hero running back, and team 3 going with the hero running back, not taking a 2nd running back there, getting good pass catchers there. Christian Watson goes to team 5 in round 5. Tom, I haven't asked you about him. Do you think that he is a fantasy gold? Because, you know, he's going as a top 20-something wide receiver.
I mean, I just don't like some of the wide receivers he's going ahead of. I mean, I think there's upside without question. We saw it last season, right? We saw what he could potentially do. I worry about him in an offense with a first-year quarterback. He's talented. There's no doubt about that. I just think there's going to be too many ebbs and flows with the entire offense to be taking him over some of the guys that he's going ahead of. And even Godwin, who's in an offense that I'm not super excited about in Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, I'm not sure I'd be taking Watson over him. And there's other wide receivers that are going to be coming up who I don't think I'd take Watson over. So to me, that's the issue. It's not so much Christian Watson. It's just the guys he's going ahead of right now I've got a problem with.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Bermar doesn't agree with us, though. He says Christian Washington is going to smash. I mean, physically, he's got the skills, no doubt, but I do agree with Tom. This offense isn't going to be throwing deep. These are going to be check downs. These are going to be going to the tight ends. This is going to be a run-first offense, so it'll be very interesting. All right, we got two teams here that have started with 3 running backs. That's Team 1, who has started with Pollard, Stevenson, and Mixon. And then Team 8 has Taylor, Breece Hall, and I didn't see the third one there.
Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins. So Dalvin Cook going to the second round. We didn't bring that up. We thought that was the help call that you got there. Any leads on Cook that this owner felt?
I think we're a little surprised by that one. Right now, hell, I mean,
I'm
right
assuming
now,
because he has Hill. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to absorb something there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, Vegas has the betting odds on Dalvin Cook going to New England. So that doesn't help anybody if he goes to New England. That's a horrible spot for him. And obviously nobody who has Ramondre Stevenson wants him going there.
I know Robert Saleh said today, they would never turn down good talent. And if Dalvin Cook could work out, they would love to have him. I mean, that would kill Breece Hall's value.
Yep.
And I think it would kill Dalvin Cook's value. I don't see how that helps him at all. So, and he asks, is he going to get suspended? Is there any talk of Cook being suspended at all or not? No, I didn't think so.
No.
I didn't hear anything yet at this point. All right, Team 4 takes Tua. Tua goes as the 9th quarterback, followed by Goddard. In the auction, that's who I ended up with, was Tua. And I did team him up with Waddle, and I did not feel good. I mean, I know I've got a lot of work to do to catch up to the teams with the first 5, 6 quarterbacks. I couldn't go 20 on Fields against you, though, Tom. That was just too high of a bid. 19 you had me at.
That was the guy I wanted, was Fields.
Would you have gone 21?
Yep,
I figured you would. So I wasn't going to go 22. So he's yours, damn it. He's yours.
Yep.
All right, first 5 rounds in just over 20 minutes. I mean, cruising. Good group.
So there's one thing I'd like to point out, boys. I'm glad I took Hawkinson where I did. You did see some inflation at the tight end position. Waller going in the 5th. That's, a little bit ahead of the market.
Yep.
And then the quarterbacks with Jackson, where he went at the beginning of with 3, but then you see Fields and Lawrence going in 4.
Yep.
So you did see some inflation at those positions. So I don't feel too skittish on taking, the early quarterback tight end combo there. But I have to hope that a few of these wide receivers stay for me, or I'm going to be in trouble. But I do have a handful left, and there goes one of them.
Stop talking about it then. Michael, thank you. Tom, you must have had Michael on the show last night. You and Derek did the show. So thank you, Michael, for joining us here. And glad to have so many people watching this. Again, we haven't made an announcement yet, but we have live streams lined up, not only with FTN Fantasy, but get ready, boys. Live stream NFFC drafts are going to be all over the place. We've got some things cooking, and we're looking forward to it. But definitely we got Vlad Sedler next Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. He's going to be on with us. We'll be getting Nelson on again here, Matty on again here. So we've got a lot of them lined up. But I think this is it. This is the content that people want to see right now. Actual drafts, $350 per team. Put your money where your mouth is, and let's see what the draft results are. And I think people want to see more of this, and we're going to deliver that. Get ready starting next week. All right, Matty, you are up. Did any of these wide receivers drop to you?
Yeah, so the 2 I wanted, I'm going to end up getting. And the theory behind this is looking at Team 10 and looking at Team 12, they both built yellow brick roads, meaning they loaded up heavy at wide receiver. So I kind of went a little bit different in hopes that I would get sandwiched into a couple of targeted players. So I'm going to go Mike Evans here. I'll let Duke take whomever he wants, and then I'm going to go with George Pickens.
Okay, here goes Rachaad White and Cam Akers. So
yeah, I don't think Duke would have went.
No, I don't think so either. Tom, I like that. I mean, we waited on running backs. We ended up getting Rachaad White, and we wanted Cam Akers. I mean, again, that was a 14-teamer, but Duke, I think, well done here. I mean, I kind of like that. That's a hell of a good backfield after waiting to round 6 and 7. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it worked out very well for him. I think I don't know. We could certainly ask him, and we can ask him in Vegas in a few weeks. But maybe Madison over White is maybe the way he would have wanted to go. But honestly, Akers and White there at the turn after going with those 4 wide receivers and Herbert, that's playing it really, really well. I think he's got to be very happy right now.
Well, and again, Team 10, we didn't point out Team 10 was doing the exact same thing, right? He had 4 wide receivers in Mahomes and then waited out and got Madison, which was very good, and Connor, who has the potential, obviously. But no, I mean, when we were doing our strategy, again, 14-teamer, White and Akers were 2 that we really went in. So I like that. I like the Madison Connor too. So again, this is the beauty of these live streams, is seeing the different roster builds and then having someone like Matty explain, why did he take a quarterback and a tight end? Because he got the upper tier of those 2 positions, along with Bijan Robinson, who's upper tier, and Devontae Adams. So a lot of different strategies, but I understand all of these right now. So, all right, Permar's got plenty of Olave. He's not getting off Olave, baby.
I love it.
There you go.
I do want to say, Matty, I like the build here for you quite a bit as well. Even though you had the stud running back there in Bijan, you come back with Aaron Jones, but you do get 2 wide receivers. I know Tampa Bay's got issues, obviously, with Baker, but Evans in the 6th round. I mean, you do get to a point there, even though they got issues, at some point Mike Evans is going to be a value pick. I mean, he is a really good wide receiver. And even though Baker's got issues, you just can't let the talent go at some point.
No, you can't. And he's an end zone target hog as well. And I like the market share there, regardless of the quarterback. You know that there's going to be 2 guys absorbing the majority of that market share. And so volume for me is going to be big. And then the role in the offense. And I know that the defense should be getting a little bit better. Nelson and I sort of talked about that, but Nelson thinks that Baker Mayfield's sort of going to prove the public wrong this year. So I wouldn't just completely ignore Godwin or Evans because Baker Mayfield is the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. They'll throw a jump ball to him at the goal line, right? And he always comes down for it. I mean, I'd be surprised if he doesn't get double-digit TDs again, because he always gets double-digit TDs. Yeah. He knows how to score. So, yeah, I think he's fallen a little bit too far. I mean, that's 71. That's pick 71. And, of course, Pickens has great upside. Again, if the quarterback play is better, Pickett should be better this year, his 2nd year. So a little run of running backs here in round 7. And, again, people are waiting on their 2nd running backs. And Montgomery goes as a 2nd running back. Connor goes as a 2nd running back. Akers goes as a 2nd running back. Pacheco goes as a 2nd running back. Tom, what's the deal with Pacheco? He had surgery, and is he still recovering off of surgery? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I mean, he's still dealing with an injury that he suffered in the playoffs last season, which is not good news.
Yeah.
But he's out there practicing with a yellow jersey this week, so bad news is he's got the yellow jersey. Good news is he is out there on the practice field. So kind of a good news, bad news situation. But I guess, I mean, the fact that he's still not fully healed from an injury in the playoffs last season is not good news. You don't want that as we sit here going into the start of training camp. Mm-hmm. So it's something to keep an eye on. I got 2 thoughts about this. One, let's not make Clyde Edwards-Helaire a thing, because let's just not do that. But there is the other guy in the backfield that I do think we need to keep an eye on, and he'll come up later in the draft.
Yeah, you like McKinnon, that's why.
I don't want to name names, but there's the other guy in the backfield.
I love that Tom stays on brand. I do.
Oh, he stays on brand, definitely.
Attaboy.
CEH went 3rd overall in these drafts only 3 years ago. Why are you dissing him already and burying him, for crying out loud? 3rd overall.
What a tough gig it is to be a running back. I know that, yes, the glamour in life of being a professional athlete is great and everything, but those guys do work their asses off, and the beatings that they take, and then to see like how the public or the ownership and market treats them is just, man, no leverage. I was telling Nelson, no leverage. They got no leverage.
No.
I'm a nice person, Matty, but not everybody's cut out for this game. It's just that's just the reality of it.
Remember Michael Carter, just his rookie year, opportunity came to him and he looked awesome, and now he's just a forgotten guy.
Yeah.
I mean, just buried.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's no way they should be lowballing Barkley on a $10 million. I mean, give me a break. He's the franchise player.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a franchise player. I mean, he should be making at least 14 million, 16 million. Daniel Jones is what is he making? You said 26.
40.
Yeah.
46.
40 something. Yeah, $1 million. I mean, come on, give me a break. I mean, I understand they want to use him and then get rid of him, but to just use Barkley for 1 year and let somebody else take him as your franchise player is bad. We're getting off of this topic right now, but I totally agree. Thoughts on Kamara going here at round pick 80-ish or so? Tom, good, bad, indifferent? What do you think right now?
I mean, I love Kamara. Obviously, I'm a big Alvin Kamara guy, but I'm probably going to have 0 shares of him because I just think there's too much risk at this point. We don't know what the suspension is. He's going to get suspended. I think we can feel pretty confident in saying that, but I'm going to have 0 shares unless we get to the real start of the season and it's a real small suspension, which I'd be surprised if it was. The other thing is he wasn't that good for most of last season. He wasn't very productive. So there's that too. So even if he gets a lucky break with the suspension, he really wasn't that good last season. So we got to factor that into the equation.
Yeah, I think he's definitely getting suspension. We just don't know what it is. Could be 4 games, could be 6 games. And then as soon as you mention McKinnon's name, he goes right off the draft board. That's the influence you have here. This is like ESPN draft day when somebody announces they should pick him and they do right away. You have inside information or something.
I just said there's another guy in the backfield. That's all I said.
Yeah, McKinnon goes to start round 8 again here. We're seeing a flurry of running backs in round 7 and 8. Fantasy guys disrespect the running backs as well, as you can see right now, not giving them the love they should be getting. DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, all of these that are being taken right now are interesting players. All of them could really bust out this year or disappoint. I mean, Penny in Philadelphia, could he be the lead back, the main guy? Well, they got a lot of people there, right? Swift, could he get the job done there? I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen there. So very interesting. Treylon Burks, his value plummeting. What's his ADP here, if anybody knows? Since the Hopkins signing, that's pretty low, isn't it?
Yeah, so the max pick has changed just a little bit. It's up to 88, but his ADP is still at 72 because of the min and before the Hopkins signing, his min was 52. But I'm looking at 2 weeks of data. 3 days ago, if I drag that around.
Well, he's going 92 here, so that's a max pick right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the lowest he's gone.
Yeah,
since Hopkins signed.
Since the Hopkins signing, for sure. So. All right, we'll keep an eye on this here. We'll give her a little bit more here on get a few more rounds to look at. There we go. All right, so we'll hang on. We'll do the first 13 rounds or so here, everyone, and then we'll let these guys pick their backups. But again, we want to show the builds. The team builds are important. We wanted to see where the top players were going, and then have a little bit of fun here. And again, we'll do this again next Tuesday night on the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast with Vlad Sedler. It'll be Vlad's first NFFC draft with us. I think he might have bumped into
No, he's already done an OC. He sent me his board.
1. I thought I saw him get into one night, but he didn't know what he was doing in that one, right?
He emailed Nelson and I actually, we've worked together for so long. We've been friends before this, and friends, family, whatever the hell you want to call it. I know I'm on the board, and I'm just making sure that Jahan Dotson didn't get in a car wreck or something gnarly, get hurt bench pressing or doing something. But I would like to take him. There you go. Feel good about that. So, So he sent us the board, and I said, at first I said something about complimenting him about one of his picks, and then Nelson sends this whole fucking novel of all the picks that he didn't like, why he didn't like it. I mean, and Vlad tried to give a little bit of hindsight towards his decision making, but yeah, Nelson wasn't having it, and so then Vlad kind of was backtracking, like, well, I'm trying to prepare myself for the live stream, and I want to be more prepared and stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, Nelson just being boots on the ground,
Yeah,
him. So
I didn't think Nelson would hold back. If he doesn't like it, he's going to teach him, right? He's a teacher.
Yeah. So there you go. That's a fly on the wall experience behind the scenes of our emailing.
All right, there. Duke adds 2 more: AJ Dillon and Antonio Gibson. Again, good possibilities there. So now he's at 4 wide receivers and 4 running backs. So good stuff there. He is kind of fading the tight end position. Team 10 is doing the same thing. So very interesting. All right, Matty, what do you got for us here? You're on the clock.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jameson Williams. And I feel pretty good about that one, too. He's going to be playing in the Dome, second year coming off of the injury. We sort of saw him have his moments at the end of last season as a rookie. And I just think that this offense is going to continue ascending, if we could call it that, after even having an explosive year last year. I want a piece of the offense.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously out the first 6 weeks with the suspension, but then you want him in the money weeks. You want him down the stretch there where he can make a lot of money for you. So.
And good to point that out, Greg, is also because of me waiting a little bit on the wide receiver position. I sort of wanted to build that upside later on. Hopefully everything stays healthy. But yeah, I kind of wanted that for later on in the season as well. Yeah, I think he's going to pop. I think he's going to pop off.
Yeah, his health should be fine by now. He's basically almost 2 years. That happened on New Year's Day, obviously in the bowl game, but he's almost 2 years off of that ACL injury. He's one of the fastest players in the game at Alabama. He was just unbelievable to watch. So I hope he is healthy, although he's in our division with the Packers, so I don't like that. But no doubt that Lions offense is going to be tough this year.
I think the NFC North is going to be a really fun division, and people were saying that last year due to the surprising amount of parity because of the Packers kind of falling down a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be a fun division, and I'm really interested to see how Jordan Love utilizes Aaron Jones and Christian Watson.
So I have to ask either one of you guys: did you watch this quarterback series on Netflix?
No,
not yet. No, I'm going to.
It is really good. It's produced by Peyton Manning, and it's really good. And as a Packers fan, I have much more respect for Kirk Cousins right now. I mean, that dude was a baller last year. He took a lot of hits, and I mean, they got the microphone on him where it's just crunch, and he's like, "Oh shit!" Oh, well, he doesn't say shit, of course. Oh, and he's just groaning through the games and just toughening it out. But really, really good series. Everybody watch quarterback. If you watch Full Swing, which was on the Golfers, that was really, really good. And this is exactly like that, where they follow these guys for a full year with their families, with their spouses. Damn, it's really good. All right, we got another comment here. Team 2 is smashing. All right, we're going to keep an eye on Team 2. Yeah, we love this start. Like we said, Chase, Barkley, Andrews, Gibbs. Tom and I like Gibbs as well. So, and then he's loading up on the wide receivers. So, again, a lot of really good roster builds here. We're not giving a grade at this point, but a lot of good, interesting roster builds. Hey, if you like what you see here, or if you're like, damn, I could beat these guys, we got RotoWire Online Championships every day at 8 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern, 11:55 p.m. Eastern time. We get some 2 o'clock afternoon ones. On the weekends, we got 6 p.m. So we're filling them up like crazy. We're actually on a record pace for the RotoWire Online Championship. So should be good stuff. All right, we got another one. Henry Muto jumps in here. Henry's been good on these live streams. Got done listening to FSGA draft. Yep.
When do you guys get to Vegas? What's the date?
I get there actually August 30th. Tom will be in New York around August 31st. And then I'm there through, well, we're both there through the 11th staying. How about you? Are you coming to Vegas?
Yeah, so Circa, they are going to host some drafts for FT and Fantasy, and they're going to give 2 nights over the Labor Day weekend, which is a highly sought after weekend, to any of the analysts, which 2 thumbs up. I am one of those guys.
Hey,
and
I need to come down to Circa then, because I have never been there to see that place. So
I've heard it's bitching. I know Siege
yeah.
loves going there, and I've got other buddies that also love going there as well. And they've got that big contest this year for like $1,000,000 to first place. Right. You pick 5 against the spread. So I'm going to go.
All right.
2 free nights. Yeah, why wouldn't I be there? I'll do one of my prime times there. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so we are going to talk about that. That should be a lot of fun for sure. So good. All right, Henry, you're absolutely right. Smash that like button. We'll keep it going here every week, a couple times a week even maybe. So stay tuned. Again, we're going to have more live stream drafts than you've ever seen from the NFFC this year, working with FTN Fantasy and other companies in the industry that want to show off these great drafts. So, all right, we're in round 10. We're not even 40 minutes in, 41 minutes in, and we're in round 10 already. That's how fast these go. Tom, you've been watching these every night. How long do they take usually?
I'd say about an hour and 20 minutes on average. Sometimes they take a little longer. Sometimes they take a little less. I mean, I've seen some drafts that get done in a little over an hour when guys are cruising through the picks. So even though everybody loves to draft, if you're picking promptly, you can get done pretty quick. Those night owl ones, they can get done pretty quickly. I mean, people love the night owls, but they don't always like to stay up super late. So they can get done pretty quick. But usually I'd say about an hour and 20 on average.
Yeah, that's about the pace we're on right now. So good stuff, everybody. Hey, you're paying $3.50. Enjoy the time in here. You don't have to rush yourself. Enjoy it. Have a beer with Matty and me and enjoy. But all right, now we're getting to the point where people are filling in again, looking for the tight ends and quarterbacks. Team 1 got his number 1 quarterback is Prescott. Number 1 tight end is Njoku. Tom, you're not against Prescott. He's a guy, if you're going to wait on quarterbacks, has upside because of all the targets they got there, right? The personnel they got there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've said on here on our live streams on Sirius on Twitter, I'm going to get a top QB on my board this year. That's my plan. But if I was to wait, that's the guy I would target. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and a healthy Michael Gallup. I think those are 3 really good wide receivers. And obviously Pollard in the backfield is a really good running back who can come out of the backfield and catch. They've got a hole at tight end. They got to replace Dalton Schultz. But other than that, I think Dak Prescott, who's been a productive fantasy quarterback in the past, that would be the guy. So if you can't get a top tier quarterback, I get Tua. I understand the liking for him. I like him as well. But to me, Prescott would be my target.
I call blasphemy on your analysis there. Jake Ferguson is at Dallas. Our Badger boy is there.
I got him on my dynasty team, so I'm totally okay with Jake Ferguson, but he's not Dalton Schultz.
He's not Dalton Schultz. I think he can hold out all right, pretty good there. So, but yeah. Okay, so team 2 is the only one that does not have a quarterback. I don't think we'll see too many teams take a quarterback 2 here, maybe, but I don't think so. So we'll see if the gamble works out for team 2 as he holds off. As far as tight ends, I think it's just team 12 and team 10, the 2 that loaded up on wide receivers, do not have a tight end right now. So everybody's filling out their boards, but we're watching the tight ends and the quarterbacks, and a couple teams don't have one right now. Adam says, number 9, putting a lot of faith in the Jacksonville offense. You're right, wide receiver, running back, and tight end. So going for the stack, a little different stack, if you will, but definitely got a lot of pieces of this. And honestly, Tom, that offense should be improved this year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they will be. That's a unique stack. We don't usually see that without the quarterback in play, but that's one way to do it. So something to keep an eye on. But yeah, I certainly think they're going to be a even more improved offense than they were a year ago, and we certainly saw them take a lot of steps forward with Doug Peterson there and a much improved Trevor Lawrence. But I do think the addition of Calvin Ridley makes that offense even better than it was a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here we are through round 10, 45 minutes. Good pace, everybody. And Duke is still hitting those running backs. Goes with Elijah Moore. And I didn't see who was the round 10 one was.
Elijah Mitchell.
Rondale Moore. Okay.
Rondale
Moore and Elijah Mitchell. So good stuff there. All right, Matty, you're loading up on those wide receivers. Are we looking at a third running back at all?
Yeah, we are. Duke took the one that I wanted, though, and then before that, Bateman went. So I went Collins, and now I'm looking to see if I want to go running back, which I think I'm going to end up having to force that. Some people like him more than that, but yeah, needed some depth there, so I'm going to go with that pick. Jamal Williams. I guess, I need another running back at some point in case shit hits the fan.
Were you gambling that Duke was not going to take another running back after taking 4 straight?
Quite a bit, actually.
Yep.
I thought he was going to go
gamble.
back to I thought he was going to go back to wide receiver or tight end. And so I ended up going with the wide receiver that I liked right after Rashad Bateman, which was Nico Collins, which I'm actually okay with. I'm good with Nico Collins. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I got Nico Collins in that auction that we were doing, and I mean, he could be the wide receiver 1 there, and he could have a really good year. I like Nico Collins, and I would have done the same thing, thinking Duke is not going to go there. He's probably going to take a tight end, another wide receiver. Yep. So it was a worthy gamble, but you have Jamal Williams now instead of Elijah Mitchell.
That's correct.
All right. So
if it makes you feel any better, Nelson does have Jamal Williams ranked ahead of Elijah Mitchell, but what does he know?
Hey, maybe he will get all the goal line carries down in New Orleans. Who knows? No reason not to give it to him. But Team 10 and Team 12 both punted on the tight end again at that position.
Yep.
So, or at that point, obviously they're going to take one here coming up, but surprising that they're not forcing the issue either. There's a lot of tight ends available at this point. Everyone seems to have one other than them, so they can play the waiting game. But I like it. Let's see if Team 2 ends up taking a quarterback and who he ends up taking. There's obviously veterans out there. Hey, look at this run on running backs here.
Yeah.
Round 11 is the round to get running backs, it looks like, Tom.
Yeah, so far everyone's taken one so far, and not bad gambles at this point. I mean, some guys that certainly are going to have some roles here or potential roles as we look at a couple of rookie running backs off the board in Johnson and Shane. But I mean, Tank Bigsby and Bigsby as well, of course. But going back to Matty's pick, I like the Jamal Williams pick there. I know you wanted Mitchell, but Jamal Williams certainly to start the season, Matty, it could certainly be the starting running back in New Orleans. And even when Kamara comes back, I do think Jamal Williams is going to have a role there. I know everybody's super excited about Kendre Miller. Greg and I took him in the FSGA draft the other day, but I think Jamal Williams, he's just a guy, and Greg and I know this, being Packer fans, he's just a guy coaches love because he doesn't make mistakes. He does everything right. He's not a supremely talented guy, but he takes snaps away from more talented running backs because he never makes any mistakes. He knows every assignment on the field, and he's not going to screw up. And coaches love that. And they love it more than more talented running backs. So Jamal Williams is going to play down there in New Orleans. He just is.
Yeah. And to put it, from a team context thing, he does have the knack for the end zone. You've seen the touchdown efficiency. And obviously, as a math person playing baseball for the most part or looking at baseball numbers, sure, that should regress. Duh. But, I mean, he still could get plenty of red zone touches, and the efficiency is high, and he's really good at pass protection as well. So he definitely understands the entire the game. And I feel right after Williams goes, just looking at the running backs, that go after him, definitely feel good about that pick.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody loves him. Teammates love him. He's great in the locker room. I mean, that doesn't mean much, but I mean, the teammates, he'll be a friendly guy down there, and they'll love him. All right, Team 2 takes Kirk Cousins, the star of quarterback, the series on Netflix. Actually, Mahomes was a star, but Cousins was awesome in that one for sure. So we'll see if he backs him up at all, if he goes for 2 veterans here, but that's not a consolation prize, Tom, right? If you're waiting on quarterbacks, the 12th quarterback, you got Cousins in a great offense.
That's who I thought he was going to get. And, I don't know if that was his plan or if that's just at some point he was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, in round 11, I think that worked out really well for him to get Cousins there. And we'll see what he decides to do if he ends up going quarterback by committee and grabs somebody else here or another round or two. But I think it worked. And he takes an upside rookie. This worked out really well for him. I like this.
Yeah, we see this a lot, I think, in the online championship. Usually Richardson will go first, and then the upside, and then they might take a Rodgers or a Cousins or something like that. But absolutely, that's the upside. If this is the guy who breaks out this year, you got him in round 12, You backed them up with a veteran who you're probably going to start in week 1 and early weeks for sure. But now you got time to see what Richardson does and how he performs. So interesting. All right, 4 of the 5 picks were the quarterbacks here. Backups for teams 1 and 3.
Second tight end to team 4.
Second tight end to team 4. So team 10, we got to sit here through round 12 here before we sign off and see if 10 and 12 take a tight end or if they're just going to wait until the last round to take one. We got our first defense off the board was Philadelphia. San Francisco is usually the defense that goes first, but Philly's obviously number 2. But any surprise there, Tom, that Philly went off and that went off in round 11?
No, Derek and I have talked about that as well. I think at some point, if you feel really good about your team, taking that number 1 defense or the one you think is the number 1 defense earlier than usual is not a bad way to go because you feel like they're an outlier at that position. So you want to bank maybe more points, a couple of more points per week than the other defenses are going to get, and they could be that outlier at the position. So I don't have a problem doing it. I think more people are doing it than have done it before. And so I think you're going to see this more often than not in these contests, in the RotoWire. And then once we get to the prime time and our bigger high stakes contests as well, I think you will see this happen more often.
Yeah, I agree. I think Philadelphia and San Francisco will go off earlier. I think you'll see Justin Tucker, the Baltimore kicker, go off earlier as well. Because again, you're banking a couple more points each time. So, all right, Matty, any final thoughts you have before we wrap up here? Again, we thank you for joining us. I know you got a busy schedule, but man, this is fun to do with you and Vlad, and we look forward to doing more of these with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to see you guys. We've got to spend a good amount of time, I'd say, in person relative to where we're at on the map or where I've been in previous years. But to piggyback on the DST point of view, I think that there's some game theory behind it as well. So you're looking at tiers or ceiling plays. They are a position that you do have to roster. And a lot of people, or in previous seasons, like to stream the optimal defense per week or, kind of like to play that game. But as the seasons go on and the more you look at the fab that you're allocating towards it and even just the fucking time spent looking at that each week versus just taking, I got him, the San Francisco 49ers DST right here. I was going to take the 49ers, the Eagles, the Patriots, the Cowboys, whomever was there. Right as the first one goes, that's kind of an alarm to me to say, okay, now you're just going to take the next one. So that's how I look at things there. And then Darnell Mooney is somebody I'm going to take the injury risk here a little bit with the upside. With Mooney, another wide receiver, just because I started a little late at that position. So I'm taking the upside and talent with Mooney. And so, I think that the DST, you guys mentioned that when we do the prime times and you start seeing those boards unravel, it's going to become a little bit more common to maybe see a couple of them in rounds 11 or 12. And I concur with that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right. It's like I emailed you. We got to do a Brewers game. And I know Joe wants to go, Mets, and we got to get Fish to come. And we're going to let people know in the Midwest, we got to pick out a date and go to a Brewers game in August. All right. Is that a deal?
Yeah, it sounds good. I'm up for it. I'll have to make my stop at the Brat Stop first, though. Shout out to them. They're going to have to sponsor me at some point, aren't they?
I agree. Well, in Johnsonville, I love the Johnsonville cheese brats, so I definitely got to bring them. I think we got meat sponsors galore for this podcast coming up.
Yeah,
I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up to Vegas not for football, but for baseball in March. And whatever shirt I'm wearing, FTN Fantasy, it's going to have like Brat Stop patch, Johnsonville patch, cheese patch.
Now, you're going to go back to the Brat Stop. You're going to buy that halter top for yourself. And you're coming to Vegas with a halter top on. It says Brat Stop.
I'm going to have to get that for Brandy.
You tell Brandy that's what I'm saying you got to do, all right?
You got it. Well,
hey, great hanging out with you. Great hanging out with everybody who joined us tonight. It was a lot of fun, and we're going to do this more often. Like I say, we try to get through the first hour here, show you the first 13 rounds. Team 12, Duke, went back-to-back with tight ends there. Juwan Johnson, that's who we ended up with, Tom, in the 14-teamer. Laporta's got some upside. Team 10, Dulcich, definitely has some upside, so they waited. Great strategies, everybody. Duke, everybody, Matty, it was great just to see all the team builds and the different strategies about it. So let's do it again next Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time with Vlad Sedler. We love the FTN fantasy guys. We love hanging out with you guys. Thanks for everything, Matty, and we'll see you soon, all right?
Thank you guys so much. I'll see you soon.
All right, thank you, everybody. See you next week, all right, on the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast. Good night.